Take it away, Ernie. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
The film is just kind of mind-blowing, really.
A lot is introduced in this one. People, places.
Our director has clearly brought his own vision.
It was as if having carte blanche to let your dreams go loose.
Our main thing for Gary Oldman's character was he had to look like he'd been in Azkaban. His eyes very deep set and haunted, teeth rotting.
Are you going to kill me, Harry?
We designed these tattoos. His whole body was absolutely covered in tattoos all down his arms, and it's a very, very scary image when you first see that.
His description in the book is he has this sort of like long, kind of greasy hair, and he's got a face like a corpse when you first see him.
We tried a good few looks with him before we ended up with the look we had.
Harry!
And we tried very, very short hair. We're over the 12 years. I'd gone grey. We tried it bearded, not bearded. It was thoroughly researched.
Gary's amazing. You know, you just put it all on and the character just came.
I look like I've escaped from prison, don't you think?
This heart is where you truly live. This heart here.
This is meant to be Professor Lupin. He's turned into a werewolf. So we did the transformation sequence with prosthetic makeup effects on David Thewlis.
It was hard to do without the cliche teeth coming down, and so we concentrated on the eyes and the actual skin. Alfonso wanted him with 2 big scars down his face so that could follow on to the werewolf, so you could get the connection between the two of them.
I've never actually done anything with that scale of prosthetics before. To watch yourself transform over the space of 6 hours is just remarkably fascinating, and watch yourself become unrecognisable was exciting.
Action! Nails.
You go as far as you can using the actor because you want the performance, but there's a point where you're going to kill your actor. So obviously you then mutate away from the human and go into the virtual.
When we actually talked about the transformations, you know, we had to consider how Lupin was going to transform into the werewolf.
Most of it was achieved inside the computer with his head turning into the werewolf. That in itself is just exciting, just because of the energy of the creature just kind of transforming through. And then the other main one was Peter Pettigrew.
Tim Spall gave Peter Pettigrew. Pettigrew is the most rat-like character you can imagine.
This was the animatronic rat.
It was making the connection between, you know, Peter Pettigrew being the rat, and that to make him look as rat-like as we could.
The wig, we tried to get the texture of the rat, the colour, balding pieces, scaly skin.
And we had the teeth made, little pair of teeth. We wanted him, because he used his hands a lot, and we had little nails made to stick on, so they were like little claws.
The wonderful thing is that as soon as you start putting the character on, any doubts you had about the way you were going to play it, you know, they come together.
I've been a good friend, a good pet. You won't let them give me to the Dementors, will you? I was your rat.
When we were first approached about doing the first Harry Potter, they said it's just some children. And actually, it's turned into a great deal more than just some children.
Come on, move it along, move it along. Yeah, man.
There's a creature that the Dementors, they aren't so much indicated that if they open a door, maybe their fingers can fall apart. But on the other hand, they just need to inhale and they take away your soul. So we wanted to do something that was abstract and metaphysical.
Alfonso had an idea that one of the ways to distinguish them was through their movement.
Dementors don't walk, they float. And so if they float, I guess it was you know, a fairly natural step to say, okay, well, what would happen to the robes? Well, how would they move most effectively?
I was a little hesitant about CG, so I wanted to do everything old school. I wanted to do mirror tricks, and I wanted to do puppets.
We just did the basics of some flying puppets with wind and what effect that had, and it just wasn't working at all. It wasn't anything like Alfonso was thinking.
Alfonso had this idea of putting this thing in the water and seeing how it moved.
There's a great puppeteer in San Francisco called Basil Twist. So he came here to London. What he does is he does puppeteer underwater, and we shot a couple of tests with the mentor floating, slow motion, and running the camera backwards. And it was really beautiful. The only problem was not practical.
We would never be able to do all of that animation within something like a tank. For what we wanted to achieve, it was just way too difficult to do.
We realized at the time that we'd have much more control over what these things look like, how they behaved, how they performed, if you put them in a CGI environment.
Pretty much anything we looked at, any films that may have something similar, really didn't kind of come close. So it was really more a matter of trial and error and imagination.
And one of the directions we got from Alfonso was that these guys are not in a hurry. They've got lots of time. There's no sense of urgency, so the character and the cloth had to emote that sort of feeling. So we went through quite a lot of iterations to give that sort of performance from the character and from the cloth.
ILM, through many, many tests, came up with a fabric look. It was phenomenal.
Hagrid? Exactly what is that?
That, Ron, is a hippogriff.
A hippogriff, as described in the book, is a combination of several creatures. When you send off your artists to go and do conceptual designs, Alfonso gave them a guideline of what he was looking for, plus they had the description from the book.
That was actually a very interesting process to see how the conceptual artists worked. I thought it was easier. And then I started going to the office of the designers, and I would see all these skeletons. They had skeletons of birds and skeletons of horses. And they were having meetings with physiologists and veterinarians, and says, what is that for? He says, well, I mean, if it was just a picture you draw, you can do whatever you want. The problem is that this is going to be a 3D character that is going to be moving. So we have to start from the bones.
We did motion tests. One of the first things we did was we went to the computer and said, okay, if it's a horse back end and a bird front legs, how does it move, and how does it run, and how does it fly?
I think it was very clear from the beginning that Alfonso had a very definite vision about how he wanted Buckbeak to be as a character, and our challenge was to interpret that. So we do a lot of tests before we actually start really working on the movie about what kind of animal is it? You know, is he excitable? Is he sad? Is he, you know, how do you show that in a shot?
I remember the very early animations, and it was like a puppy. Just jumping, you know, very light and poppy and playful. He says, no, I mean, this is like a baby. Buckbeak is a grown-up, and also is sloppy.
I think he was once described as a sloppy teenager, and so we kind of did a lot of development in the early days to try and combine those characteristics. It was pretty tricky.
The amazing thing is it was really a long process of defining. Pretty much it was the same shot that we'll redo over and over, each time with a little different character. And there was a point in which they nailed it.
Every hippogriff scene was storyboarded because the cost of each shot is not inconsiderable. Once the previs was finalized, then we shot those scenes.
Very good.
When Dan has to interact with the hippogriff, we actually have props that can give him something to interact with. So for that scene, we actually had a beak on a stick that he could touch and caress that we would then replace with the CG hippogriff.
Ready, and action.
The complication of the flight was how to get Harry to interact and look like he was really riding the creature. And the way we went about that was we developed a motion rig that he would ride, which would actually have the animation driving it, so that his actions would also match the actions of the animation.
And then we have the moments where he's flying over the castle, which is this huge-scale model that was built and photographed at a studio. So there's all these different pieces, and part of our job is obviously to put them together in a way that makes it all believable.
Then it started becoming like an automatic thing. It was about suggesting fun stuff that he could be doing.
Now, have to let him make the first move.
If you watch carefully in the paddock scene, we have an animated hippogriff poop shot.
I think that we can lay claim to it being the first time that a CG animal has actually done that on screen.
Yeah, nearly there.
This particular buckbeak is our number 3 buckbeak, and he was designed to be in the backgrounds of shots where he's a reference for all the CG work, because of course, if it's a CG creature, it's not there, and the kids have nothing to perform against, and if you can put something like this there, then the kids know exactly what they're dealing with and can react to it.
That's the thing.
He was difficult because every material we used, we had to be sure could be matched by the CG guys. The manufacturing period was 4.5 months of solid work. The hippogriff skin is a tailored lycra, but over that is a feather skin. Each feather has been individually artworked by a team of people over months. And of course, everything we build is a prototype, so we don't know when we start exactly how we're going to build it. We have to try mocking things up, see how it works, hoping we reach the end of the road before it's time to shoot it. If a creature has to perform on location, you've got to figure out how you get him there, how he's going to behave within that environment. It's a nightmare because it's not something you can service. You can't run off to the nearest shop and buy a new part.
This board seems okay.
It's incredibly labour-intensive, incredibly specialised work to make it move correctly.
Buckbeak was a phenomenal piece of design. I mean, how the hell those guys do it. I mean, it's got like 5,000 electric motors in it making it do. I mean, at times, you'd look at it and it'd be moving its head and blinking. You think, just any moment it's going to stand up and fly off.
It's meant to be the most haunted building in Britain. Did I mention that?
Twice.
The Shrieking Shack is on a mountainside outside Hogwarts and is racked by the wind and the blizzard, and it moves.
Inside the Shrieking Shack, things like doorways and windows were actually triangulating. So it became quite an interesting construction for us, as well as the construction department, to try and make all these things come alive.
So we had to build a frame that would move backwards and forwards that we could then build the set inside. And this, of course, had to be completely safe because the actors were, and the crew were in it throughout the scene.
Welcome to the night bus. Emergency transport for a stranded witch or wizard.
The night bus was particularly interesting for us to actually achieve a bus of such height. We cut a bus in half, lifted it, and then constructed the middle section. It was found that a normal London bus was going to be too slow for the sequence, so we obviously had to make a bus that could produce probably twice the speed.
The other thing is that every move that we made, it was like a circus moving, because it was this whole entourage driving all around London. Every time it goes around a corner and it rocks one way and then it rocks back the other, they wanted everything in the bus to be rocking, including the actors inside.
3, 2, 1, go! We built an interior that was mounted on top of a hydraulically controlled motion base. This allows us to move the bus from side to side under controlled conditions. It just allows the unit to shoot inside and get the shots that you wouldn't be able to get out in the streets.
Come on, man, I have a pedicure at 2. Hurry up.
I wanted Hogwarts and Scotland, where we shot, to have like a really predominant role in this film. So we would see the characters together with a very sharp and huge Hogwarts in the background, or the really dramatic landscape of Scotland.
It was decided that we would go to Scotland in May because it's the month when the sun shines. They haven't had rain for the last 3,000 years, and it rained every day for 28 days.
And literally the set would, be washing out from under us, and at lunch we'd have to have helicopter dropping gravel and have the crew put gravel back in underneath to keep the dirt from washing out from the set, and we'd bring everybody back up and try and work. I was concerned, about, what does this do to the look? Although Alfonso and Michael literally said that, they felt like it was the best look we could have actually come up with for the movie.
It was phenomenal. We had this soft grey, overcast Scottish light, which dramatically for the story is brilliant. No, it was a nightmare getting it, but worth it.
Yeah, this is a cool thing. Yeah!
The universe of Harry Potter. It's a universe that was very eloquent. So I felt very comfortable to play in that universe.
Each day is an adventure, and you never tire of it. It's a great world to be a part of.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what?
The books lead us. I mean, we're in a good position of having had Joe Rowling provide us with fantastic source material.
All you have to do is read the books to kind of, I think, sense the place, the sort of tone and atmosphere, which I thought she'd done, you know, and she continues to do so brilliantly.
In the very first film, Joe came to the set when we were designing, coming up with a lot of the designs, and had to look through everything to make sure that we weren't, you know, wildly off.
Joe created this world. We wanted to stay true to it and organic to it. And that's been our mission.
All that vision is born very much from the book, part of the universe that first Chris and now Alfonso was built upon.
Mr. Potter, our new celebrity.
From the get-go, what I was aiming was serving the material.
I think that's everything of importance. Let's begin the feast.
That is very good.
Of the 5 books that are published, writing Azkaban was the easiest, and in some ways I think that shows. Although it's a tricky plot in some ways, as Alfonso will really appreciate, and Steve Kloves, the scriptwriter, will really appreciate, because they've kind of had to negotiate the same ascent that I had to negotiate. At the same time, I felt I was really given space to do that, so it was an enjoyable process.
The moment that I read the book, I just felt so connected. For me, everything was so clear in how it should look as a film and how it should be told as a film. And then having the luxury of working with Steve Kloves, that he's fantastic.
We tried to discover the best way to convey what Joe was expressing on the page in movie terms. And that led us to some interesting places.
You deal with so many abstract concepts, like the time traveling. It's such an abstract thing. And actually, it's so difficult that I even trying to explain it right now.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's hard.
It is hard, because you just go in circles.
But then in the book, everything makes just perfect sense.
I loved watching that part of the film. I loved watching the time turner sequence. There was just enough humour in it.
Ow!
Just enough near misses. Dumbledore's comment when they come back is just spot on. It's perfect.
We did it.
Did what? Good night.
I got to Scotland to meet with Joe. One, I think it's important for Joe to feel comfortable, and two, I think Joe is a wonderful source of information, is incredibly generous with us.
And I remember when she walked into the door, I thought, for some reason I expected to meet someone who was like 70. Joe walked in, she was younger than I was. We liked the same films and we liked the same music, and it was just an immediate connection.
Wicked.
When she met Alfonso, he talked about his vision for the film, talked through many ideas.
Alfonso was mentioned very early on, and I was really enthusiastic about the idea. And I loved Y tu mamá también. Alfonso just obviously understands teenage boys backwards, and, you know, they're 13 now.
These kids were starting to take themselves seriously as actors, so they were willing to explore more emotional territories.
He was their friend, and he betrayed them.
He was their friend!
I was so lucky that I had them so raw and so willing to go there.
I think all 3 of them give their best performances to date.
Poor Malfoy.
He deserves it.
But he deserves it.
But Tom took that punch really well.
He
really did. He did a good job on that.
Emma was looking forward for that moment, and I remember Tom telling Emma, "No, if you want, just hit me. Just hit me."
What a hero.
The universe is the universe that you created. You know every corner of that place.
Everyone
Everyone? Everyone. Where they are, what they're doing, every minute of every day.
Brilliant.
This was a map of the world. This drawing is Jo Rowling's drawing that she executed in just a few minutes. As you see, it has all the principal ingredients. The Dark Forest is here, the Whomping Willow, the Quidditch pitch, Hogwarts Castle itself, the Black Lake is there, the Perimeter Road, Hogsmeade Village. She had a very, very exact and precise understanding of her world and her creation. She knew exactly the relationship between all the elements. So she was able to give it to us, and that became our Bible.
We needed a place where the kids could see the execution of Buckbeak. And we thought about having a graveyard. And when we consulted Jo about it, he says, no, the graveyard is not there. And I said, why? And then she gave me the whole explanation why the graveyard cannot be there, because it's in a different place of the castle, because it's going to play, and she knows her thing. She knows exactly what's going to happen later. And once I remember having little people in some storyboards, playing some keyboards in an organ in the Great Hall. And Jo said, no, there are no little people in this universe. I says, yes, but it's like Lilliput kind of thing. He says, yes, yeah, it's a lovely image, but they don't make sense in this universe.
I wouldn't let him do it. That's not fair, is it?
It was just about trying to serve as much as possible the story and the spirit of the story, because that's what is great of the book, because the third book is, for me, so abstract and deals with so many different abstract concepts, but at the same time is in the frame of an adventure.
I think it's very, very important that Alfonso Cuarón be allowed to make this his own film.
Action.
It's important that any director come into a situation like this and feel the freedom, feel empowered to make it their own. That's how you're going to get the best films.
Pretty much all the decisions, the visual decisions, were made as we were shooting, not in the cutting room. We made most of those decisions either in the storyboard or when we blocked the scene with actors, we worked with the actors, and when we decided how to approach the scene.
Oh, well done, Harry. Well done.
What he's done is he's built from the foundations of the book, built from the foundations that Chris Columbus established in the first two, but made it very much his own to serve the story.
God.
Alfonso had very good intuition about what would and wouldn't work. He's put things in the film that, without knowing it, foreshadow things that are going to happen in the final two books. So I really got goosebumps when I saw a couple of those things, because I thought people are going to look back on the film and think those were put in deliberately as clues.
Jo wants the movies to be faithful to the books. On the other hand, she realizes that they're completely different mediums. To be entirely faithful to these movies would be 16 hours long.
In this film, what I found the theme was about a child trying to find his identity as a teenager.
Sirius Black was and remains to this day Harry Potter's godfather.
We found the theme, and then whatever stuck there we kept, and whatever it didn't, sorry. As long as didn't affect or contradict either the universe or what is to come.
Next. Yeah.
My biggest concern were the visual effects. I want to make sure, absolutely certain, that the visual effects would again move up a notch from the last film. First film, we were fairly rushed, and the effects were never up to anyone's standards. In the second film, we improved them greatly, and I wanted to take another leap on this film.
We're watching it, and we're saying, wow, look at that hippogriff, it looks really great. And we're just praising the conceptual artists and the CG artists that put it together. And then someone says, yes, but don't forget who imagined it in the first place. And here she is.
I think it's important to say I didn't invent a hippogriff. I invented that hippogriff, but the creature, the hippogriff, as you know, exists in folklore and in mythology, so that's not my creation. But I really thought hard about this, because it could have been in the book, it could have been an absurdity, and indeed it really could have been in the film as well, but you made him a real creature.
There are not that many iconographic representations of hippogriffs, and that's something that we discovered is very interesting. There are sphinx, there are several sphinx, or you see creatures that are half bird and half cat, a lot of
Yeah.
different things. But for hippogriffs, actually, it was hard to find.
I knew that because I went
You knew that?
looking.
Yeah.
I went looking, hardly find any anywhere.
No, I know.
So I
It's
thought
just
a complete liberty to invent. I had a nightmare when I was in my teens in which I saw hooded gliding figures. And they could almost be figments of your imagination, of a sort of a tortured imagination, as indeed they are. But you know what I mean? They could be figments of a mentally ill mind. And that was a whole thing that I was exploring in the book. Harry is particularly vulnerable to them, but he's got a much worse past. So he would be, you know, it's not weakness, it's just the fact that he's faced more.
I think Alfonso came up with an amazing design for the Dementors because they truly are unlike anything you've ever seen, but they are a close cousin to maybe what we've all sort of perceived as death over the years, and that's very, very frightening.
I thought the Shrunken Head was very funny. I really liked that.
Little old lady at 12 o'clock!
I thought they fitted in really well. It was a really funny idea. I mean, I said to Steve Kloves many a time, damn it, I wish I'd written that, you know? So, but obviously that's what you want, isn't it? You want to be working with people who come up with great stuff. It's great, you know, when I'm looking around for all these little bits that are completely consistent with the world, but I didn't write them. I wish I had, but there you go.
Gryffindor!
For me, one of the great memories was sitting in a room with Steve Kloves, Joe Rowling, and David Heyman, the producer, and just the four of us for several weeks, discussing Quidditch, talking about what it's going to look like.
I'll say 1, 2, 3, and action. The food appears. Set. 1, 2, 3, action!
And that excitement, that sense of making something really special was something that I took with me through the making of the first film and the second film.
The overall process was incredibly open and incredibly creative.
I think in this case, the book and the director were really made for each other. There's a unity about the film, there's a consistency about its tone and its feeling that's very, very enjoyable for me. And that's not a very easy thing for the author of the original material, and I'm completely happy, and what more can I say?
Expecto Patronum! I got a real treat for you today. A great lesson. So follow me.
Gary Giroux is the best animal trainer in the world. He cares about the animals and he treats them with respect and he loves the animals, and that's important.
We searched far and wide, worldwide, for the right creatures. Most of these crows we brought from America.
These are African pied crows. Her name is Cheyenne. She's about 3 years old. Typically found throughout Africa, raised in captivity in California. Hand-raised babies are much better than wild-caught babies. When you first get them, you get them used to your voice, hand-feeding them, take them around with you so they can see everything. You raise them on the movie sets. Come on. Then you start flying them A to B, person to person, and then you start teaching them little tricks.
In Harry Potter 3, we used the bats quite a bit, mainly in Hagrid's hut. They did a lot of flying around. The director, Alfonso, loved them, so he wanted them more and more all the time. And it was quite a challenge training them. Matter of fact, a lot of people didn't think we could do it. We used a food reward system. They loved banana. They became very handleable very quickly. They're really neat. I mean, it was probably my favorite animal that I've ever worked. They were so much fun. We'd fly them in 3 or 4s, and it was very challenging. Very much like the owls, flying them the exact same way.
Right, smart bird you got there, Mr. Potter.
This is Wotan, and actually he's one of the 4 snowy owls we have to play the Hedwig character in Harry Potter. Snowy owls, along with the other owls that we see in the film, have all been trained to do different behaviors, which is hard for an owl because owls in general aren't the most intelligent of animals. So they've had to learn to do a lot of things that they wouldn't normally or characteristically do. A lot of people, they see the Harry Potter films and they think that these animals make great pets, and they really don't. They're not domesticated, they're totally wild animals. It seems so simple when you see it in a movie and easy, but in real life, it's a constant 8 to 12 hour day taking care of these animals.
You know the Egyptians used to worship cats?
Yeah, along with a dung beetle.
You're going to meet Crackerjack, who plays Crookshanks. He's not been seen before. This is his first film. But before we film with him, he has to go into hair and makeup because he's beautifully groomed. So we have to make him look manky and disgusting. Basically, every time we groom him, we keep any undercoat that comes out, and then I spend my evenings making little mats. And all I do is the fur that he loses, he sheds, I just roll into a little ball and I attach them to a little tiny clip and then attach the clip to his fur so he looks really scruffy and matted. We then have some jelly and put it on his eyes to make them look all weepy so he's not so handsome. And then we have a little bit of brown eyeshadow that we put on his face to make him just look a little bit more like he's cross. And then he's ready to work. Oh, good boy.
There's a bulldog character, Rupert. We had a great deal of fun with him. To start with, they're basically good-hearted, but they've got some aggression in there. And the work that we had to do with him on the show had a lot to do with aggression. They had the most fun with that behavior the bulldogs did. We have lots of miscellaneous animals in the show, more than on the other shows. The hippo was great fun. She's great ancient old pygmy hippopotamus, and she was very cool. She cruised around all day. People react in different ways to having animals on the set. We're sort of a variable element for directors. The rest of the crew usually really gets into the animals.
Before I got into the Harry Potter world, to be honest, I was a little squeamish about bats. I was not a big fan of it. You know, I didn't want to go hang out with bats. I did not particularly think rats were that attractive. But what happens is you see these animals and the care, and they're on the set, and they're actually suddenly pretty cute. You sort of become Hagrid. You have a new appreciation for these animals.
You're alive. I'm gonna keep a closer eye on your pets, Ron.
Now, I understand that Alfonso had you each write an essay. What was that all about?
Well, actually, I never did the essay.
True to character, you didn't hand in your homework.
No, I didn't do it, but...
Yeah, he basically asked us to write an essay about who we thought our characters were, why they did the things they do, their background, their feelings, their thoughts, how they've changed in the first year of Hogwarts, second year of Hogwarts, and now into the third year, and all that kind of stuff.
And it was... I felt really so pleased with myself because you hadn't handed yours in, and I felt so pleased. I've done it. So I had mine. The next day, Emma comes in with all 16 pages of hers.
It's frighteningly good casting, really, the way you've all reacted to this.
Well, we just got a chance to explore the characters slightly more because they're growing up, basically, and so there's more scope to the characters in the book.
We're teenagers.
What is the first thing that typically fans do when they see you in public?
Quite a lot of double takes. First of all.
Yeah.
I think there's almost this theory that we can't actually go out in public, so it must just be somebody who looks like us.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
But, I mean, that's kind of a myth. We do actually go out.
Yeah, I was in Talk Show the other day, and the woman who's working there comes up and goes, it's so funny. You look exactly like the girl who plays Hermione. It's like, yeah, it's because I am. Excuse me? What? Sorry?
I have to travel in a handbag so the girls won't get me. You know what they say? Once you've gone out with a shrunken head, you never go back.
You see when your mouth has come unstitched? That could easily be restitched. Yeah? What is the most ridiculous thing that a fan has ever said to you?
Well, I've had proposals of marriage. I had one, which was bizarre. It was terrifying.
It was, Dan, marry me.
Yeah, it was the weirdest one. It was this big sign. And then the other one was the towel girl.
Oh.
The towel girl?
The towel girl. She's a legend.
What did the towel girl do?
We were filming, I was doing MTV in New York, and it was freezing cold out. I mean, it's not like it was a warm summer's day. It was so cold. And I got up, and they took me over to the window, and there was a girl standing down there wearing nothing but a Harry Potter towel with a sign that said, it doesn't get much better than this.
No, that's
with
so flattering, man.
With a sign that says, nothing comes between me and Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It was great. Yeah.
I bet it was.
It was. Yeah.
In the movie, you encounter a boggart who transforms itself into your worst fear. if you individually encountered boggarts, what do you think they'd be? Because you look like you love that pressure.
Well, I'm actually really scared of spiders. I hate spiders, just like Ron, really.
You're wimpier than Johnny.
What animal or animagus? Is it animagus?
Animagus.
Animagus. Oh, I've been corrected by Hermione Granger.
Right.
What do you think the other two would morph into?
Oh, God. I don't know.
Come on.
Frog.
I didn't say you look like a frog.
You did in one of the pictures.
Did I?
Yeah, one of the stills. I was.
God, that was during my horrible phase.
Nice.
I don't know. What animal would you like to be? You like camels.
Camels are quite
So
cool,
you can be a camel.
It's a handy thing to be, you know. You can go a long time without water.
Exactly.
I
I have absolutely no idea about... I'm sorry.
Throw one in.
Come on. Yeah, come on, Dan.
Come
no
on.
pressure or anything.
You're meant to be able to, you know, do things like that.
I know, but I can't.
You are the boy Potter.
I'm meant to be able to.
Hey, how about a potato head?
Hey.
A platypus?
Help me.
A lion.
A lion.
I don't know. OK. What do you think he'd be and what do you think he'd be?
Well, I know he has a real thing for werewolves.
No, just wolves. Wolves. Not
Wolves.
No, wolves. OK.
I convinced you that I was a werewolf.
Oh,
well, no,
you did,
yeah. Yeah, I told him I was a
I
werewolf.
believed you as well.
No, you couldn't have done, really.
Oh, I did, yeah.
OK, fellas, you are, you know, probably the most famous under 16-year-olds on this earth. The girls must be... It must be a glorious time.
Plenty of towel girls.
Yes, many times. No, yeah, no, it's great. It's very cool, yeah.
What are the things you'd like to be able to do that you can do in Harry Potter that you can't do in the real world? Would Quidditch be one of them? What are the sort of things you'd... If you could pick one thing.
I think I'd probably have the invisibility cloak. Because then I could just sneak into so many rock concerts, it'd be great.
You don't need a cloak to sneak into concerts. Just rolling under the turnstile like I do.
Yeah.
But I do have a favourite band.
OK, what's your favourite band?
Isn't it obvious? Talking Heads. You walked into that one.
And lastly, guys, when a new Harry Potter book comes out, you must now, you know, having started out just as Harry Potter book fans, it must have really changed the way you read these books now.
You do kind of start to look at it as... oh my God! I'll be doing this.
No, for you it's not a book; it's a list of things to do.
Yeah,
you know.
I read the fourth book as we started the first film.
Right.
And the Yule Ball.
Yeah.
Me and Ron are like, I remember just reading, oh my God, we're wearing dresses?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
What?
I've got to do that, yeah.
Surely.
Did you have a similar moment when you read that, or did you read it?
Oh, yeah, definitely. That scared me quite, yeah.
But do you sort of, when you're looking at it, thinking, that's another 2 weeks in blue screen, or, oh, no.
Yeah.
Does it sort of ruin your enjoyment or heighten your enjoyment of the book?
I think for me it heightens it, because it's like, oh my God, I'm actually going to get to do this, because, you know, there are kids all over the world dreaming of this stuff.
Yeah. You live in
and
the
you're
dream.
actually going to be able to do it. It's fantastic.
What about you?
Johnny.
What?
Don't you think I'd be a great Harry Potter?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Especially when it comes to waving a wand.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah. Emma?
Now that I've done the film, when I'm reading the book, I can see Dan, Rupert and I actually doing it.
Yeah.
It's really funny. I have this little picture in my head.
OK, that's me done. So now it's time to turn to the head and ask him to ask you his one question.
Daniel, isn't our scene together the highlight of the film? Don't you think it's head and shoulders above the rest?
It's the night bus scene, isn't it? Yeah. And I just remember, I remember when you got on set, you were making a lot of demands, actually. But, you know, yeah, no, it was a good...
I don't remember that.
You asked the question, don't interrupt. Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't remember that.
It's unbelievable. Go on.
No, it's a great scene. Very good scene.
Come on, Daniel. I'm the most talented shrunken head in the Screen Actors Guild. In fact, I'm the only talking shrunken head in the guild.
Honestly. Were you big fans of Harry Potter before you got involved in this?
Well, we've read the books, haven't we? Yeah. So, I was like I just finished the first one when we had their auditions for the film, so I thought,
And, like, obviously I didn't realise how much of a big scale it was on, but I knew that there was definitely something about them.
We thought it was going to be a low-budget number.
Well...
So what about you?
Well, I just read the first one, and then, as James and Oliver said, auditions came up, and then had to keep on reading more and more and more, finding out more about the film.
Is it true for your part in Harry Potter you were cast by headhunters?
No, that was only you, wasn't it?
Well, how did you get your star parts?
Well, we heard that there was an open audition up in Leeds, and we thought, well, why not go for it, you know?
What about you?
Mine was pretty much the same because I'm from Leeds, so mine was at the open audition as well. But I remember all the people queuing up the stairs, and everyone was there with the Harry Potter books, and they put glasses on without lenses in, and I was just there with, I had a little small CV, and I was like, OK, I've got no chance of this at all.
What about you?
My manager was onto the casting.
Oh, my manager!
Well, he was onto the casting directors and all that about it. So I went for an audition over in Ireland, and then I was asked to come over here to do a screen test for either Seamus or Neville Longbottom. So I was there, oh, nice and look, I might get a part now.
Ah, great. And how did they actually break this wonderful news to you?
I didn't know I had the part until the actual read-through. I had to read for... I was told then I was going to read for Seamus, and then they said, well, you've read it all really well, so we'll like to take you on and all that. So went on and on from there again.
OK, when did you hear?
Mine was about 2 or 3 days after the screen test, and suddenly my mum got a phone call, and I was just carried on playing, and she just... I opened the door and says, who is it? She says, it's Lynn from your agency. And I said, oh, OK. Well, and she gave me the thumbs up, and I just ran in the room, started jumping up and down on the sofa with my friend. It was really cool.
What about you, fellas?
Well, we were just in the front room, and like the phone rang, so my mum answered it, and apparently this lady at the other end said, hi, is the mum of the Weasley twins there?
I think she said, no, I think you got the wrong number or something.
Oh, God, your mum blew it for you. That was it.
Hey, Johnny, do you want to know how I got the part?
No.
Oh, hang on. Hey, guys, you want to know how I got the part?
No.
Not really.
Ooh. Sorry about that, fellas. Now, if you could play any other characters in the Harry Potter films, who do you think you'd like to play?
I guess a bad guy would be pretty cool, like Draco Malfoy. But I remember the first time I read The Philosopher's Stone, I put my dressing gown on and started pretending to be Harry running around the house. And I can't believe I just told you that.
But, I'm good, aren't I?
Yeah.
What's the strangest thing fans have ever asked you?
Well, they all ask, can we get them a part in the film? But
yeah.
What else would
Do they? In Ireland, they're asking you for employment.
Yeah. Would you be able to get me a job in Harry Potter?
If it's a lady, I bet you say, well,
yeah. Shoot me your number there and I'll get
I'll
back
have a
to you.
word, yeah. No, but have you ever had any really bizarre things happen to you?
Somebody gave me a pepper at the Collectomania that we did.
The what? Kleptomania?
Collectomania. It was a signing event, convention. Thank you. And yeah, somebody gave me a pepper, and you got something even stranger.
Yeah, we've got a bra with potatoes in it. So I don't
and we're still to this day trying to figure out what
kind of tribute is that? Yeah. What must go through someone's head when they think, I know what's going to really impress the twins?
I know what's going through my head.
How do we tell you apart? What would you say are the key? How does your mum do it?
That on there. I've got a mole on my neck there. And James doesn't. I haven't. So.
That's it. We have to look for the mole. Because you're not actually ginger, are you?
No. It's dyed hair.
That's a bottle with dark brown.
And what do you think? How do you feel being ginger?
I've got used to it now. Yeah, it's like almost 3 years. When we told people, like we told our close friends that we were in Harry Potter, and yeah, sure, yeah. Then we walk into school with ginger hair. Everyone's like,
yeah, no one would do that.
No, exactly.
Who would dye their hair ginger?
Johnny, I could play a Weasley in the next film.
No, you couldn't.
What's the problem?
OK, do you have a twin?
No.
Do you have ginger hair?
No, but I have a bra full of potatoes.
Matt, your character Neville, they've sort of clowned you up a bit for this third one. What have they done to you? Because you looked a bit different when I was looking at some of the rushes there.
Yeah, there's the false teeth, which are all yellow and crooked, and we've got the 2 sizes too big shoes.
They've gone for the big clown shoes?
Yes.
And what about this one with the ears?
Yeah, they've put plastic behind the ears to make them stick out more.
Now, in Lupin's class this time, we learn about the boggart, which is obviously the thing you fear the most. That's what the boggart turns into. What would be your own personal boggart?
I'd say a big hairy rat.
Rats?
Can't stand them. Or mice.
Do you ever come across rats in this? Do you have to... I know your brother's got...
Only on King's Cross Station last year. But it was an animatronic one. Yeah. Until they did the real thing where it was a real one. And I still thought that it was an animatronic one until this thing jumps at me.
They made a real rat jump at you?
Well, it didn't do it because they told it to. It was just looking at me.
It did it because it was genuinely vicious?
It really didn't like me, yeah.
What magical power or spell would really come in handy in everyday life?
Mine would probably be just so, all the girls. Just like every single one.
He says with an Irish twinkle in his eye. All the girls, Johnny, all the girls. OK. Well, listen, fellas, thank you very much for talking to me.
He doesn't have many friends. This means a lot to him.
Oh.
Thank you.
OK, on the one hand, you are all three stars of this film, but you're also evil and mean. I wonder, when you're in the street, if you're loved or loathed? Tom?
I don't know. The character you portray reflects on a lot of young kids' faces when you meet them. They take it very even when you're dressed as normal as you are and you're saying.
So what sort of things that happen? What do they do?
They just stare at you as if you're out of this world. Like they all want to say, "I want to meet Malfoy. I want to meet Malfoy," and when they see him, they're like,
maybe we shouldn't get so close.
Yeah, and that's back away. I don't want to speak to you.
Josh, what about you?
Well, in the street, I've received quite a few boos and hisses a couple times.
They've booed at you?
Yeah, a few times.
But how does that make a young man feel to be booed?
They're not being deadly serious. Like they're only playing about in that, but.
I only say because I've heard down the grapevine from people working on this that the three of you are actually just your pussycats. I've heard this.
Nah.
You're not really thuggish at all. It's a bit of fun.
Who did you hear this from?
I'm not going to say. I've heard rumours.
I hope this wasn't Robbie Coltrane, like, because we dealt with him last week. We had to do a bit of slithering work with him. Oh yeah.
Do you think you actually, if you went to this school, you would be in Slytherin yourself? Would it be the house you'd choose? Do you like
Just. Not to the extent I think we go to it.
No.
But you have to be in Slytherin, because if you're in Gryffindor, you can't do anything wrong. You have to be good.
Yeah.
At least in Slytherin, you have the privilege to do everything now and then, you know.
Yeah.
Can you put in a word with the sorting hat to get me in?
Nah.
Oh, yeah, you'd be a real help to them.
Yeah. Legs
There's
would be
so
a
many
start.
situations where you think, God, if only I had a shrunken talking head to help me out of this scrape.
Exactly. Tom, do blondes really have more fun?
Well, I couldn't really say that, as I'm not a natural blonde.
I understand you have to constantly bleach your hair to keep it that
I've done
colour.
for many a year now.
Yeah.
Thank
How's
God
that? I mean, do you despise that process? I noticed you chopped it all off.
No, so it wasn't a chore, so to speak. It was all right. I got used to it.
Hey, Tom, you'd look good in dreadlocks, and I'd look great as a blonde. You want to swap?
Not particularly, nah. I think your hair matches yourself personally, so I think if I keep my barnet and you keep yours, we'll be rolling.
Oh, could I maybe borrow your shirt then?
Do you get trailers? Your own trailers each?
When you're in location.
If I'm on location,
No.
Do you have any requirements you always say? I mean, do you have any there?
Well, I just need a cup of coffee, cup of tea or something.
No, is that it? Cup of tea?
Well, what do you mean?
Don't you have special requirements? I love the idea of you saying, no, I want this, this, and this.
We're not very celebrity.
No, you're not really celebrity, are
Nah.
you? You don't say, I want just this particular type of M&M.
Nah.
Brown ones
No
only,
brown
yeah.
ones, yeah. What about you? What's your thing you like? What's your
Additive.
special requirements?
Well, drinks, just a cold drink. And I'm fine, because they got a CD player in the caravan. I just love music, so as long as I got a drink and a CD player, it's fine.
Other than the questions I've asked, what are the most ridiculous questions fans have asked you?
They asked you at second premiere, and I'm sure the third one coming up, they'll ask me again. Which part do I play? Or do I play the same part? It's like, no, I've changed part to Harry. Actually,
That's the weird thing.
It's just I
now have
That's
mine.
the twist. Yeah, you get that.
What about you? Same question.
What toothpaste do you use?
What?
Oh,
You've been
random.
asked what toothpaste
do I use? Yeah, just some random question out of the blue.
What a stupid question. So what's the answer?
Oh, I've got to ask you. This is an important question here. Do you think your stardom gets you a lot more attention from the ladies?
To be fair, it's done me no favours.
It must have.
Nah, that's what you would have thought so, wouldn't you? To be fair, I would have thought the same.
No, I really would have thought. I thought you'd be cracking away.
It's the ones that don't know you, they want to be with you. It's the ones that know you that don't, which is...
Yeah.
I consider myself an all right bloke, but...
So the people actually all around you know you anyway. They're probably the ones you fancy. They're not impressed by it.
No,
and
just
the ones
there.
you don't know are the ones you fancy, but you don't know them.
Yeah, I don't particularly have any... Not interest, but I don't know them, so to speak, and they're the ones who obviously see the
So
lights.
you're saying you never pull off the back of...
No. Harry Potter has not accounted for one lovely lady.
Ask a question then. Go on, Jahed.
Okay, this is for Joshua and Jamie. I don't like the way Tom's character treats you two in the movies. So why don't you leave him and you two can hang out with me?
You need the alpha mentality first, mate.
You do need the alpha mentality,
Need
no
it.
doubt about that.
Yeah. It's in the genes. In the genes.
It's in the genes.
In the genes.
Jeans is something you can't really wear.
As you keep pointing out. Thank you.
Any other questions, Jahed?
When are you going?
Very funny. Listen, fellas, thank you very much
No
for talking
worries,
to us.
lads. Appreciate
Cheers.
it talking to you.
Say goodbye, Dread.
Bye.
Dread.
There.
So what had you heard about Harry Potter before you actually got involved in it? David, what had you heard?
I'd only read a bit of the first book, and I just knew about all the media furore of it, you know. But I'd not read books 2 or 3. I just read a bit of it. And I'd seen the films.
OK, so you've never read anything about your character? You didn't read the book that this is based on?
Not until I got the part, no. I have to admit. Not until I got the part.
OK, what about you, Gary? What did you heard about Harry Potter? What was your
Much the
preconceptions?
same, really. I'd read the first book, and I got one up on Dave, you see. I'd finished the first book.
And,
there were no pictures in it.
You kept reading
Yeah,
till you got to the
colouring, you know.
pictures. Yeah. Do either of you have kids yourselves?
Yes.
I does, yeah. Not myself.
And are they into Harry Potter? Or too young?
Yeah. Alf is 14, so...
So he's right in the age.
He's, yeah, and the other two, Charlie's 4.5 and Gulliver's 6. So they've been here and they've got, you know, obviously it's an added thing that they like Harry Potter, but their dad's in Harry Potter.
I know,
so.
are they more excited about that than sort of anything else you've done?
Yeah, I'm a hero at school.
Yeah.
Big noise at their school.
Suddenly you are really cool dad.
Yeah, yeah. Although
That's the best thing about it, I think, is knowing kids and kids getting absolutely mental when you're in it.
Yeah.
Any kid you meet and anyone I know tells the kids you meet that you're in it, and they get short of breath.
Yeah. But
they also get excited about the film.
When I told the Gulliver's 6, he went into his school and he ran up to his mate Omar, and he just said, "Guess what?" He said, "Guess what?" He said, "Guess who's in Harry Potter?" And Omar went, "Harry Potter?"
Yes.
So he's read the books.
He's read the books.
He's read the books. But in general, what kind of attracted you to doing the film?
For me, I was seen for the first film for Quirrell, which is why I read the first book.
Right.
And then when I saw it, and I know Ian Hart, who did play Quirrell, I know he had such a good time making it. And I really like kids' films. I really enjoy being part of them. And since this is like the biggest of them all, I just thought what fun it'd be. And then met everyone involved, and I'm a fan of Alfonso Cuarón. And it's, you know, and I'm not disappointed now here at the end of it. I've had a great time making it.
What about you, Gary? What did you like about particularly Sirius Black? Were you surprised to get a character with that kind of, well, with the sort of the dichotomy that Sirius Black has in like a children's book, to find a character with that kind of darkness?
Well, it's great that you... I mean, I've played... you know,
no stranger to darkness.
No stranger to darkness.
To the dark, John, the dark.
The dark side. And so it was great to be really to play a good guy. I mean, he is a good guy. So, I mean, we think he's a bad guy, but you know, so that was... So that I liked that dynamic, that twist at the end.
Was there any sort of sense of being like new kids in a sort of established cast, almost new kids in a school, ironically?
Yeah, there's an element of that. It's kind of a welcome from everyone that's worked on it before. Because almost all the crew have worked on it before. Yeah, but it's such a friendly bunch of people.
It's been a great experience.
Yeah.
In that,
but did you feel that
respect.
sort of did they gang up on you ever? Tease you?
No. Funny enough, it was.
They never got in a circle around you and jabbed you and teased you. Stole things from you.
No, that happens somewhere else.
Okay.
You know, before you get here.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another place they do
your
that.
agent deals with that stuff. But no, it's been a wonderful experience.
What about the kids? What was it like working with them? Did they behave all right?
Yeah, they're great. Daniel's a hell of a nice boy. He's a really great guy, and he's got me into some very good music.
Yeah, I've been listening to some. Yeah.
I was just still listening to the Beatles until I came here. You know.
Yeah.
But he's very passionate. But he's got great taste for a kid of his age.
He's very dedicated, serious about it, and focused. And
because he's actually, I mean, he said he's a big fan of yours, particularly as an actor. I think you are his idol as an actor. Is it quite odd to sort of act with a kid when you know you're his hero? Is that sort of off-putting? You sort of think, I've got to be really good here because this kid.
Yeah, you think I've got to be good here.
Yeah, for the kids.
For the kids.
I'm doing it for the
kids. I'm doing it for the kids.
A lot on the werewolf thing. You are quite Lupin, genuinely.
Well, I am now, yeah. But I've put a lot of effort into that. But no, it was good to do. You can say at least once in your career you've done the whole werewolf transformation thing. But it wasn't really fun to do. It was well, no, because it's really uncomfortable to do. It was a terrible day when we were shooting, and you have these lenses and you can hardly see anything, and a light would be blinding to you. And we were on a very dark set, and I was led out, and it was the middle of summer, and they opened the big studio door, and the sunlight hit my eyes, and I had the teeth still in, and I actually was like, oh.
I am blinded!
He's taking a bit serious, isn't he? Yeah.
As the in character, as soon as you leave the trailer. Ah! The light! Yeah. OK, if David genuinely had an animagus, what do you think his animal would be?
I don't know, I think there's a real softness to David, like a deer or something. I could see him as a deer.
What about Gary? How would you apply to that now?
I'd say some kind of bird.
A woman?
Yeah, some kind of bird.
Your tea's on the table, Don.
Yes, an old woman.
If you want to interpret it like that.
Excuse me, sirs, before we go, I just wanted you to know I put both of you on my resume as my co-stars. So if anybody calls, could you just tell them you both learned a lot from me?
You should quit while you're ahead.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Johnny, what are we doing next?
I'm just writing questions for Robbie Coltrane and Sir Michael Gambon. So this is heavyweight stuff. I've got to concentrate for a bit here, Dread.
Yeah, OK. Oh, could you ask a question for me? I just want to ask them what it is like to wear a T-shirt.
You think I'm going to ask Sir Michael Gambon and Robbie Coltrane what it's like to wear a T-shirt? It's ridiculous. I mean, laughing stock.
All right, a suit then.
Yeah, it's not bad, actually.
Oh.
What's it like to wear a suit? Michael, were you a Harry Potter fan before you got this role? How much did you know of the Potter phenomenon?
Not a lot. I'd seen the films, and I haven't read the other two books, read the third one, but I like them very much, yeah.
And obviously with you know, you taking Richard's place in there, I wondered how you sort of approached this role then.
I just did my own thing, you know. I mean, I do it with a slight Irish accent, which I think just seems to be right. I don't know why. It's just when I got on the set the first day, Alfonso, I said, I'll just do it. And he said, he came out and said, what's that accent you're doing? And I said, well, it's a bit of Irish, you know, because I am Irish and I feel sort of Irish, and this long beard and a long wig. So he said, all right, leave it in. No one's ever mentioned it since.
And it is kind of, the part of Dumbledore is a sort of, a kind of a classic role, isn't it? I mean, I know you've compared it, I think, to King Lear, I read.
Yeah, well, you feel a bit like King Lear dressed like that, and then he's all-knowing and all-powerful, isn't he? He's a bit nicer than King Lear. King Lear was a bit miserable, isn't he?
Absolutely.
No, he wasn't.
He's not very happy.
And not very good at relationships.
No.
No, really
dysfunctional
relationships.
He doesn't like his children very
No, he wasn't good with kids, was he?
No.
Robbie, you are barely over 6 feet tall. In the movie, you're obviously huge.
8'6".
8'6". So what do they, I mean, without giving away too many secrets, how do they beef that up then?
Well, it's mainly done with very clever camera angles. And there are one or two other tricks which I can't possibly discuss.
But at any time, have you got tall shoes to take you up to an enormous height?
Oh, yeah. And
so what's the biggest
and
height
things.
you actually physically get to?
8'6".
And how does life feel when you're walking around 8'6"?
Very perilous. Because you've got all this hair like that, and you can't really see your feet, of course.
OK, but quite inconvenient life at that height.
Very inconvenient, and the costume's very heavy. The costume weighs about 90 pounds, something like that.
And not only does the costume weigh 90 pounds, but it's made of, what's it made? It's made of...
What do you used to call it? Moleskin, isn't it?
Moleskin, yeah.
Yeah, very thick and very hot.
And you had to wear this, didn't you, on the hottest day?
It was 100 degrees in the forest. But I have a cool suit, you see.
Really?
Which is, yes, it's a vest, but it's got miles and miles of plastic tubing in it.
Like a refrigerator?
Very like a refrigerator. And then there's a box with ice cubes and cold water in it, and a tiny wee pump off a windscreen wiper of a car, you know.
This is my question.
Yes, I know it's your question, but let them answer it. Robbie, sorry, your suit.
Of course, they dyed the vest pink, just to make me look like a complete silly fellow. And they do. They pump the water around, and it's extraordinary because you know how woozy you get when you're really hot and your concentration goes, and then suddenly it's this shock of freezing cold water circling around. It's wonderful.
Michael, how excited were the young children in your life that you were in Harry Potter?
Oh, well, every boy, girl I meet asks me about being Dumbledore, so I do my best to tell them stories about it.
Your young relatives, is it? I mean, there must be a massive difference between that and sort of work you've done, say, doing the theatre and things, which I would think they wouldn't particularly want to talk about.
They wouldn't want to talk about Samuel Beckett's Endgame, would they? Would it particularly appeal to the 8-year-olds?
Tell us another story about it, Grandpa. Please tell us about Samuel Beckett.
Tell us about existential alienation.
You're really watching the kind of the kids involved in this film grow up. Is that a strange experience?
Well, no, not strange. Just very interesting, really. Particularly this film, they're much more confident as actors, but they're much more confident as people because they are, you know, they are young teenagers now. And one thing that came across, particularly in this film, is there is a sense of fun between them because they've known each other for years and they get on well. So there's a good knockabout feeling between them, which means that when you do get a bit of light relief from the horrible things peering in the windows and trying to disembowel you, it's a genuine relief, which I don't think they could have done when they were younger, to be honest.
And I suppose they're more used to the acting now, aren't they? After 3 years.
Exactly. But I mean, what they put more time in than probably any of us, don't they?
Yeah.
In terms of hours. And when they're not acting, they're doing their school studies. So it's a long haul for them.
They're there all the time.
Their concentration's astonishing. If any one of those had been the wrong person, and I mean not just the wrong person at the start, but had developed into the wrong person. In fact, we had this gag that we were going to stick a phony moustache on Daniel, and get him to turn up with a cigarette holder and a couple of babes in a fur coat and say, "My trailer is too small, love. I'm going back to it until you know."
The nightmare child.
The nightmare child scenario. Yeah.
Okay, Head, go on. I know you got a question. Crack away. Go on.
Okay, great. Robbie, I think Hagrid uses the same hairdresser as I use. Do you think I need a new hairstyle?
I think you might have one or two split ends there, matey. But no, I think it's very you. It's very you.
Ah, great. All right. I'll keep it like this.
Go on. You got a question for Michael?
Hello.
Michael. Hello, Sir Michael.
Hello.
You guys are all classically trained actors. Could you get me a role as that skull in Hamlet?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea because you'd be great as a skull.
A chatty Yorick.
Whoever played Hamlet would be lucky to have holding him.
Lovely. Well, fair enough. Next question. Michael again. I felt like scratching my knee for the last 6 years now. So, for the next movie, could you get Professor Dumbledore to cast a spell to get me a body?
Yeah, I think that could be done.
What sort of body would you create from
Long,
that?
thin, distorted.
Sounds like me.
You finished then, Head?
Yeah.
For now.
Do you know, it's a waste of time even asking you to do those questions. We learnt nothing. It's always about you. It's never actually anything interested in them.
Well, I've had a good teacher.
Pathetic. Thanks very much, fellas.
You're welcome.
When Harry Potter fans encounter you in the street, do you get the feeling they hate you or love to hate you?
What do you find?
I don't get noticed in the streets.
Because you're so slim.
I have to say, you look more svelte.
I know.
Than the other films. What's happened?
Just lost weight, you know, just like
Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
Was that a problem? Because, I mean, your character is implicitly meant to be chubby chap.
Yeah, well, I did wear a fat suit in the film, which got bigger every film. And that's how I got bigger, really.
Fiona, what sort of reaction do you get?
If children are being carried by their mothers and the mothers are walking ahead, the children often start crying if they see me. And the mother doesn't know why the child is crying.
Do you get fan mail, hate mail? How does it work?
I get fan mail, but it goes through Leaveston, so I don't get anyone to hate mail.
What sort of nice things do people say to you?
Well, some people say I like your other films you've done. And I was like, what other films? Because I ain't done Harry Potter.
So have you had anything nasty sent to you or any...
No, I get a lot of birthdays. People want things signed for their birthdays.
Yeah. Do you know, it's moved brilliantly on to my next question, which was, I mean, how has your popularity soared amongst children, nephews, nieces?
Deep respect.
Yeah?
Yeah, and not a little fear.
Yes.
I know how they feel.
What about you? What experience you've had with some of your younger rellies?
There's some that they just can't believe it. My father lives in Ireland, and cars go slowly past his house because they say that Harry Potter's grandfather lives in there. He's entirely
They've got it really wrong, haven't they?
by this existential fact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you? How's it sort of changed your life on every level?
It really, because I don't get noticed, it hasn't really changed my life a lot.
No, but I'm just saying, amongst your peers, though, there's that knowledge that you're... because of...
Sorry.
I mean, do you miss out on the fact that you're not with, like Daniel is, with a gang of kids?
Yeah,
and actually all your bits are
Hogwarts.
separate. You film with him a bit at the start, then you don't see all the others.
No, I really do want to go in Hogwarts. I want to go into Hogwarts.
We want to go to Hogwarts. We want to see what all this
like
fuss is about.
Sports Day.
What about, like,
Well, I asked Joanne Rowling, you know.
Like Parents' Day? Or...
But yes, the Founders' Day.
Yeah.
We said, why can't the Dursleys go to the Hogwarts on Founders' Day and see Harry Potter in his school? And she said, I don't know why. But I said, so then they can go. She said, no. I think it would be a disaster.
Yes, jumping the shark. It's jumping the shark, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
OK, now, Pam, what were your feelings about joining what is some regard as one of the nation's most awful families?
Sheer terror, really.
Yeah.
Yes, sheer terror.
So no misgivings about it?
No, not at all, no.
And yet you have to suffer kind of facial hair, fangs and not a good hair colour. How did you feel about that?
I loved it. I do love it, because the good bit is when you take it off at the end of the long working day and you look comparatively OK underneath and you think, I'm not so bad after all.
Do you think that the Dursleys aren't caricaturing, though?
No.
What, you breed bulldogs and look like a bulldog in it? Not now. Not now you've got your special thing on.
Thank you. No, people do behave like this. I mean, frequently as actors, and I'm sure these other actors have experienced this, you'll see someone or meet someone and you'll say, if I put that on camera, no one would believe the extremity of it. These people aren't that extreme, really. It's just that we're looking at them through a particular lens.
But also, don't forget, there's been a progression through the films in the relationship. So that when you started out, Harry Potter was very much like Cinderella.
Yeah.
Then he went to Hogwarts and came back with some magic. And in the second movie, you then got this thing of him having powers and putting the family under pressure. And then in this third film, apart from the terrible things that happened to Aunt Marge, the whole house is, you know, shakes with fear because of what he might do.
Yeah.
As Harry Potter gets older, the Dursleys are more threatened. So they are turning from dominating him to being terrified of him. So the boot goes onto the other foot.
All your characters are obviously muggles, but if your characters could have one magical power, what do you think it would be?
I'm a very, very nosy, curious person, so I'd quite like to be able to be invisible occasionally and eavesdrop on various situations.
Yeah, and peek.
The royal family, for instance.
Yes.
That was a good one, actually.
That was a good one, wasn't it? The invisibility cloak seems to be a big favourite. Come on.
We'll go together.
I would like to be invisible too.
Yeah.
OK. I've actually been quite quiet this time, so go on. You can have a good question here. Go on.
It's the Dursleys.
Oh, come on. They're not. They're the actors.
I'm really scared of
It's
them.
the actors.
They're real.
No. Head off. Thank you very much, Dursleys, for joining us here.
That's what it is to be all mouth and no trousers, isn't it? Yeah.
Sit.
I can't.
Now, obviously, the first two films directed by Chris Columbus, a marvellous foundation. I just wonder about how you then have made this production your own.
Well, I think the core decision was to make Hogwarts, the context, a character. To make the school, everything, all the sets that you see, a living entity.
Because this is the third film in line, you know, with these two guys, they literally reinvented it. They found a new way to look at all the existing sets.
And he fought for Scotland. Scotland was...
And we took it outside.
OK, this is my next question. The idea of moving, it's the first time you've done it, moving the whole cast, the whole crew, up to Scotland. What was the decision for? Why did you make that decision?
The thing is, I was not part of 1 and 2, so for me it was just the natural thing to do. There's so much stuff that takes place outdoors in this story, and it was pretty much Stuart who said we have to go to Scotland. He knew all these places. I mean, what do I know? So he really fought for it.
But also it gave the film air. I mean, everything. It doesn't matter how beautiful a set is.
It gave the film air.
It gives it space and scale.
Yeah.
I mean, you can recreate a certain amount digitally, but there's nothing like the real thing, and it really does.
Now Howard is involved in a natural landscape, and it's not only the castle that you see in that natural landscape, but now you see the kids pretty much walking out of a castle. On a mountain.
The other thing we tried to do was tie up the spaces, wasn't it? So you're in the hospital school hospital, the infirmary, but you see through a corridor to the clock tower.
Yeah.
You follow that clock tower down to the courtyard below. That courtyard is connected via a bridge to the landscape.
Didn't J.K. Rowling actually draw you a little map of this? Some kind of little sketch
Originally, on the first movie, there is a piece of paper. But,
I love the fact it starts with that.
Very significant piece of paper. And she did, in a hotel room. She said, this is the world.
Reading the book, you know, I think possibly the most challenging scene in it is, without doubt, the shrieking shack. I just wonder how you then bring that from the script and collaborate to bring that onto the film.
The writing was going on. What started to dictate a lot of the writing started to be Stewart's design of the shrieking shack.
OK, so what's that? What goes on in that meeting?
I think, first of all, we settled the exterior. Because we're in a remote mountainscape in Scotland on a snowy mountaintop, what looked very good in that situation was a very tall vertical tower. So that was, I guess, the earliest decision, this kind of tall vertical shape, really.
It was that, and you wanted to do everything wooden?
Yes. Unlike the rest of Hogwarts, which is stone, massive masonry, this was a rickety wooden structure. And then I guess the next step from there, I don't know if it was you or me, but we decided that if it was in this incredibly exposed situation, wouldn't it be great if it moved? If it did move, I mean, big time, didn't it? It was a
really, Oh yeah, it was nice.
Involving John Richardson, special effects, a massive mechanical rig. And Michael, yes.
Yeah. So you then take that on as your problem now.
Yeah.
What did you see as the problems of this one? I mean, instantly you must have thought,
the fact that we film on very wide-angle lenses with a lot of moving cameras. So physically, where do I put the lights to illuminate it?
Yeah.
But it's a great challenge.
No, but in the early stage, it was a conversation. The biggest conversation that these two guys have is about light sources.
I think so. It's about lunch.
Followed by lunch.
It's about what are we going to eat? Yeah, that's the first conversation. What are we going to drink?
Yeah. The shrieking shack is supposed to be a place without light, wasn't it? It's completely boarded up. There is no natural light source. There's no electricity in this kind of medical world.
No candles.
What the hell do you do?
So what do you do?
Our conversation was.
Well, basically, it was very, very soft light. So it'll be quite sort of very moody, and with no apparent source, because there are no windows. The only thing that there is because it's such an old and decrepit building, because it's always moving all the time, Stuart made cracks between the boards. So it's almost as if the blinding light from the snow is coming through and just giving you a very soft light. It's also incredibly dusty. So you have the feeling there's a sort of, just dust in the air.
Johnny! No, not now, Ed, not now. These are three very important people. They designed you into this film, they can design you out again.
Then what are they doing talking to you?
I noticed that this change in how the children are dressed. They're much more relaxed, much more casual.
No, the thing is that they are 13. This is the passage from childhood into teenage years.
Yeah.
It is the moment in which the boogeyman doesn't live in the closet or under the bed.
Yeah.
The boogeyman resides inside you.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, we wanted to bring a really raw naturalism to the kids.
Yeah.
So the theory behind was that the more naturalistic we were with the kids, with the performance, with the blocking, with the way they behave, the more magical the magic was going to be.
And did you think it loosened them up, having their own kind of clothes?
I only done this first film, but something I know is that the kids really felt comfortable with the clothes.
In the beginning, they just loved the idea that there was a bit of individualism there. It wasn't just all stamped out like the school uniform thing. Obviously, they got used to it, but they just...
With the school uniforms, for instance. So what we ask is, OK, guys, there's the uniforms. What would you do with them? And you will see some kids with the ties out, some with the ties all the way to here, some of them very tidy. And so it's just pretty much like seeing kids walking out of school.
Apparently, there was a lot of joking around on set, including whoopee cushions. Is this true?
It was not a cushion. It was like a... Now it's very modern. In our time, now it's a machine that is remote control operated.
And you did this, did you?
No, it was Michael Gambon.
Was it? Oh, name names.
It's embarrassed down in front of a girl.
Actually, it was very good because it was a bunch of sleeping bags, and Dan has us to have his sleeping bag next to this particular girl, and then the thing is that we hid this machine in his sleeping bag.
Nice.
And through the take, the beautiful thing of that take is how amazing Dan tried to stay in character. You know, you will hear the
filmed it. Was it as if it was a regular take? And there's like hundreds of kids there all asleep, and these other characters, and all of a sudden you hear this noise, and Dan just stays in character.
Stays in character
for about 20 seconds.
What it was amazing is that girls were the first, like, saying, "Hey, it was not me. It was not me.
It wasn't me." Yeah.
Hey man, it wasn't me either.
I thought one of the most kind of curious casting decisions was, well, him.
Me?
Yes, you. Why did you invent this?
It's in the magical world. They have these fellows there, right? They are shrunken heads, and they don't. In the night bus, they don't have a radio. They have a shrunken head there.
And what did J.K. make of your? Because it's your idea to have this shrunken head, isn't it?
Yeah, with the shrunken head, what happened is that when we proposed that, you're Rowling. She said, "Yeah, that makes perfect sense." And I think that in one of the books, there's a mention by the...
Just a mention?
There is.
Yes. There's
Nocturne Alley.
A Nocturne Alley or something.
There's a shrunken head,
That was my cousin, Hedy.
Made just perfect sense. And having Lenny Henry doing that was just absolutely hilarious.
I'll thank you all in my Oscar speech.
Alfonso, guys, thank you very much for talking to me. That was brilliant. Thank you.